The Kosher Kitchen family proudly supports Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Each year is a time to honor survivors, raise awareness, and champion those impacted by breast cancer. We've partnered with a few charities and organizations and encourage you to do the same. You can do your part by simply joining in your local walks, runs, or volunteering. As a token of our appreciation for your support, we're offering 15% off our seasoning bundles. So visit shoprmm.com, and as always, keep it kosher. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I'm not normally on a Monday, but I am just so thankful for this time because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And as you saw on Saturday, which was a very busy day for me, I ran in my annual Sister to Sister Fitness Festival. I usually do this virtual, but for the past 2 years, it's my second year being present, and I was determined to do good this year. And I had peeps that joined me, but I came third place in my age group, so I'm really happy about that. Just a little competitive. I've been doing this now for the past 4 years for. With the Sister to Sister. And this month I knew that I wanted to do something special, back to doing interviews like this on social media. But I was really challenged because I know men suffer from breast cancer also. And I reached out to a friend, and actually didn't reach out. We were in conversation, and I told her what I was going to be doing this month. And she said, "You need to meet this special man called Reuben." So I'm going to bring Reuben to what they say to the stage, bringing Reuben to the stage. Hello, Reuben.
Hi, Marina. Thank you for having me, and hello to everyone who's watching this with us.
Yes, and the lovely thing is, Ruben, that we started talking at the weekend, and I said, "I like you already."
I felt the same. Instant connection.
It's an instant connection, and the thing that we just came on, and so before you tell us who you are and what you do, we're looking behind you at one of your artworks. So tell them about your artwork, and then tell them about you.
Well, I'm a visual artist. I paint portraits mostly. I'm based here in Dallas. Behind me, you'll see a recent portrait I did of Nina Simone, not only because I'm a music lover, but in support of October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And she passed from breast cancer. And so it's also near and dear to my own personal story. I suffered from stage three colon cancer last year. I finished treatment. I'm all good, chemotherapy and everything. But I'm also genetically prone to be a candidate for male breast cancer. So that's something I have to be
Wow.
tracking for the rest of my life and be cognizant of, and stay up with my testing. And so.
Mhm.
Um, it's important for me to be speaking about that.
Yes.
So,
So,
yeah,
we jumped a little bit ahead, right? Because of the portrait behind you. But you said you're a budding artist. Let's
yes, ma'am.
start there. And so, what do you paint, and where can they find your paintings?
So I paint portraits mostly, as I was saying. I actually have a show opening here in a gallery in Dallas
Mm,
called Pencil on Paper Gallery. Um,
nice.
the exhibition opens this Saturday. Myself and three other artists. It's a group show called The Refresh.
Mm,
The gallery is located in Farmers Branch.
yeah. And I'll put those details in the chat a little later on in the repost. But so you're doing all this. You're getting on with life, and then the first thing you discover is what you had.
Correct. So I always talk about how I'm thankful for the pain that I endured,
Right.
simply because, like most men, most
Hmm.
Black men
Come on.
specifically,
Yes.
we don't want to go to the doctor unless something's fallen off. Like
right?
if it's not a broken bone with you
Uh-huh.
know,
That you can't
gushing
take
blood and
off.
things like that, like we won't
Uh-huh.
go. If
Yeah.
we feel like we can sleep it off, or we
Uh-huh.
can stretch it off, or we
Uh-huh.
can, you know what I
Or,
mean? And
or
so,
let's just be honest, endure the pain, no matter how long and how
right,
painful it
right,
is.
right.
You would rather
And
endure it and
so,
go.
like I said, I'm thankful for the pain
Mm.
because it persisted in a way that I couldn't ignore it.
Yeah.
And so, I actually went through a period of some misdiagnoses and things like that. And so eventually we got on the path to figure out what it was, and, got the treatment going, and I
Yeah.
got care from the best physicians in Dallas, and,
Wow.
the kindest staff and all
Mhm.
that. And so I'm really thankful for the care that I got. But most importantly, um, it just really made me want to stress the importance of early detection,
Mhm.
because like I said, we don't go to the doctor.
Not
we,
at
we
all.
we don't.
Not at all. Not even for the simple things, blood
Yeah,
pressure,
right,
yeah, annual
right.
checkup. No. And so Ruben, what was the pain? Describe the pain so that those that are suffering with this can
So
understand what it's for.
um, I'll reiterate. I had stage 3 colon cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was an abdominal pain. And initially, I thought it was food poisoning,
Mm-hmm.
and because the symptoms were the same.
Yeah.
And but when it persisted, as long as like 3 weeks, food
Mm-hmm.
poisoning doesn't last that long.
Yeah.
Food poisoning is maybe a couple of days, a
Mm-hmm.
week if it's really bad.
Yeah.
But so 3 weeks, I knew something extreme was going on. Um,
And so
I actually was diagnosed with diverticulitis.
before you move on, Ruben, so
Yes, ma'am.
for some people that may never have had food poisoning, describe what those symptoms are.
Um, painful. I want to say like indigestion,
Mhm.
and
Were you
I
throwing
don't,
up? Uh,
yeah, I don't I don't want to get graphic, but
yeah, yeah. We can, because
full on expulsion
yes,
from both ends,
there you go, there you go. That's a polite.
and like nonstop. Feel like it's never going to end,
Yes,
and it was kind of that very similar to that experience.
yes, and
And
then it leaves you
so,
weak, right? Doesn't it leave you weak because you're not able to hold anything down? You're not,
right, right, right. And so I was treated with another treated. I was diagnosed with another condition which I didn't actually have, which is called
mhm,
diverticulitis, which is
mhm.
just simply inflammation in the colon, which
Okay.
can be treated and cured through
Mhm.
like antibiotics and things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
It's very painful, so I had to go through like a regimen of pain medication and things.
Mhm.
But I went through that treatment, and I felt well again. And
Yeah.
so there was really no indication that that was the wrong diagnosis.
Mhm.
So close to almost 2 months passed before I
Wow.
felt any of the symptoms returning,
Uh-huh.
and I started to feel unwell again. And
Mhm.
so I thought that we had to pursue the same,
Same course of
path,
action.
because
Mhm.
it's a recurring condition, and so the
Yeah.
symptoms can come back. And so like I'm like, okay, I'm having a flare up. That's what I
Mhm.
thought.
Yeah.
So we tried to treat it that way, and it was like nothing was working as it had before,
Right.
and it got really bad. And
Mhm.
unknowingly, it was a tumor that was growing and
Wow.
causing a blockage.
Mhm.
And so it got to the point where I wouldn't eat. Like there was a period where I ate I chuckle about this now, but
Mhm.
I ate one apple in a day and a half.
Oh, wow. Because
That was
nothing.
it. And I struggled to get that apple in my body. So
Okay, so just to help people understand that, so is that because lack of desire for food, or you couldn't keep anything down? Lack of appetite?
it wasn't vomiting at this
Mhm.
stage, because I was just backed up, for lack of a better way to say it. So
Yeah.
it was like my body would not take more food because
Mhm.
I couldn't um, I couldn't get rid of the food.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because it was like a complete blockage in my
Hmm.
colon from
Right.
the tumor.
Yeah.
And so my body didn't want anything else. And so again, it was very painful. And I went through a regimen of pain medication and things that
Wow.
we had tried before, and just nothing wasn't working. And long story short, we finally got to the right. Oh, also, I forgot to mention. So I went through several CT scans
Yeah.
which is
Okay.
like digital imaging, and they
Hmm.
saw a mass, but they just thought that it was from what they had diagnosed before, just
Right.
inflammation,
Hmm.
not a tumor.
Right.
So finally, the right doctor, a specialist, came and saw and was like, "That's not inflammation, that's a
Hmm.
tumor," and she put me on the process to um, go down the road for surgery. And
Yeah.
she was actually the surgeon who removed the tumor. And, she was my primary care
Excellent.
physician through the
Mhm.
process. She did my colonoscopy and things like that. So she was like,
Excellent.
I'm sorry, primary care is not the right
Mhm.
language. She
Mhm.
was the head of the team that, gave me the.
So you got top care, even in the midst of all of this, you're still getting top care.
Right.
And
Right.
that's
And,
excellent.
I say, I don't know if she's the best at what she does in the world, but I
Mhm.
wouldn't argue that she's not.
Right,
You
because
know,
she gave the right diagnosis.
correct, correct.
Yeah.
And care from a physician is not simply doing the right medical procedures.
Hmm.
There's also a personality and like an ability to ease your mind and things
Yes,
like that that
they
go
do.
into it that play a big part in the healing.
Yeah.
And she had a very good command of that, so
Mm.
that was a big part of it.
Especially, let's talk about this, Ruben. Especially, we talk about black and brown men who suffer with this, and and it doesn't matter how deep or or drastic the prognosis is, right? You hit any type of feeling in your body, you resist going and getting it treated, right?
Correct.
And so to
Yes.
have a person that will give you the confidence, not add to your fear, but give you the confidence, I'm sure that helped in the you pursuing rather than just okay, you be diagnosed and retreat back.
Right. Well, I'm from a generation under like my parents' generation and my
Mhm.
grandparents' generation
Yes.
where racism played a big role in that, where they
Uh-huh.
had to be fearful because not only were they susceptible to poor care,
Hmm.
but like there was in some instances, like intentional malice that they had
Okay.
to be fearful of. And so I'm
Okay.
just one generation removed from that. And
Hmm.
so it's not that I've made that my own,
Mm.
but I have had that influence like in my ear my
Yes,
whole
good to
life,
address
and
it.
so that's part of the thinking that I
Mhm.
filter through is
Yes,
from their fears, because
yes.
there's substantial fears
Mhm.
from real indications. So
Mhm. Yes, yes. I've got friends that are dealing with that right now, and so I'm just so grateful for you saying yes to do this and to make this such a acute method for people to understand that this is so important, especially our black men and our black and brown men, because just like how cancer affects every age group and color, more black women and brown women die from breast cancer just because they don't go and get the early detection. They don't follow through. So I'm so grateful for you, even though you had to go through this painfully. And how long ago was this, Reuben?
I just finished chemotherapy for that treatment last May.
Oh,
Yeah,
excellent,
so I'm just
excellent.
over a year removed.
Yay.
But so I was on the path to like, good, I'm to the point where, these checkups can like stop
Uh-huh.
they can go from 3 months to 6 months to a
Yeah.
year,
Mhm.
and then they introduce the breast cancer in there because I
Yes.
wasn't aware of. Even though I did the genetic testing very early, and they told me that that was a possibility, I just thought, well, I'm a man,
Yes.
I'm not going to have to
Yes.
worry about that testing.
Uh-huh.
But it got further along down the road. Some of the indications from my blood testing,
Very good.
my oncologist
Mhm.
recommended that I, go down that road. So I had to get the mammogram and all this, and that
Yes.
it was culture shock for me.
I'm sure.
I
And
haven't even like I have, my sisters and my mother. I haven't even had a conversation ever
yeah.
in my life about what that process actually looks like.
Uh-huh.
So to have gone through it now as a
Yes.
male is
Yes.
very different.
Yes. I'm so grateful for you doing this. I'm so grateful. Sometimes the pain that we go through, we don't realize it's not just for ourselves, even though we feel like the world is closing in on us. But I'm just so grateful for this time and even get to know you because I know that this will help a lot of men. Because when I first mentioned it to my husband, men have breast cancer, he's just like, no, they don't. And then I pulled up cases and told him this is before I even mentioned to my friend that I want to do this interview some men for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, because men don't know that they are susceptible to this. So
Right.
what? So why? What made them look at your blood work? You've done the colonoscopy. You've done the colon. The colon. What made them do that for you?
Well, I've been so I'll always have to have my blood work checked
Hmm.
because of they want to stay ahead of it. So
Yeah.
even though I've been through chemotherapy,
Hmm.
that's always going to be a part of the process.
Very good.
But
So that was, oh, that I get it. So that was the indication that they just kept looking at your blood work. So how rare is this in men? I'm sure they told you.
I'm not, I don't really know the figure anymore.
Hmm.
She mentioned it, but I've
Yes.
forgotten.
Yeah,
But
I need to look it up because I knew I was going to do this, so I need to look it up. That's on me putting that on you, but I'll look it up. But I know that it is rare. But the two things that make this story so relevant for right now is that men need to keep checking their colon, they need to keep checking their prostate, and then because of what you go through and the technology that is out there now, they look for other indicators, and that's was in your case. They look for other indicators. You had to have a community, right? They always tell you that you need a community when you go through things like this. Who was your community?
um, it's unusual. I always speak of this one instance of a younger cousin of mine, and I just recently told him about this. That I'm
Mhm,
always bringing him up, but
mhm,
we were fairly close.
mhm.
But we haven't lived in the same city in like 10 years, and we've just never been phone conversation family
Right.
members. But
Uh-huh.
he called me out of the blue one day, and this was, I think, in my second week of chemotherapy infusions.
Right.
And so this was when it was new to me, and
Mhm.
I went into the office. So I had 3 visits a week. And so I went in there on Monday, knowing that I had to return on Wednesday.
Right.
So I went in there on Monday, and it was just like a very dark place for me. Like,
Mhm.
I'm sure you've been in the doctor's office, and it's just like a attack on your senses from the
Yes.
sound, like the
Uh-huh.
beeping of the machines,
And the smell.
smells, and number one, I wasn't really accustomed to it, but
Mhm.
it was like that day, it was just all bad.
Yeah.
It was just like
Yeah.
really
Mhm.
bringing me down, and it was just like a dark morning for me. And it was like,
Yeah.
oh, I hate the way it smells here.
Mhm.
I hate the way it sounds here.
Mhm.
I hate looking around. I hate being in this place.
No.
And I don't use the word hate loosely, but
Yes.
it was like that extreme.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And so,
Uh-huh.
anyway, so that was Monday. And so that carried through the day. that was kind of my Tuesday. I spent Tuesday in the bed.
Mm.
Wednesday morning, I woke up on that same energy, and it was before I had to go to the visit, and that's when I got the phone call from my cousin, and we hadn't talked for a while, and he was just randomly calling me, and
Mm.
we had a good conversation, and he just like lifted my spirit, and we didn't even talk about anything specific, and
Yeah.
he didn't say anything like profoundly motivational.
Hmm.
It was just kind of just like the timing of the phone call,
Yes.
and from that moment on, like I never got back to that place. Like
Mm.
I enjoyed going to talk to the nurses.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
needles and all the stuff that's going on, but it
Uh-huh.
still was not like a dark place for me any longer after that. So, yeah, I appreciated that, and I always mention that story.
Yeah. And so, did your sisters and your mom give you support too?
My mom has passed, but
Mm.
yes, my sisters were, very supportive, and my wife as well, of course.
Yeah.
Um,
Because
yeah.
I know that people that I've interviewed always say you have to have a community. And sometimes it is the stranger, it's not always the family members, it is the stranger that coordinates with you, that schedules with you. And
Hmm.
I like how you say it's a phone call out of the blue. You didn't even talk about, probably didn't even talk about what you were going through, but it's
Right,
just like
right.
somebody calling and taking your mind off of it. And so,
Well, we're men, so I had to play strong, and oh,
yeah,
this is nothing. This what? Nah, man, I don't even feel anything. What do you mean? What are you talking about? So
yeah,
of course,
yeah,
I didn't really allude to where I was at,
mm-hmm,
um, mentally and
yeah,
physically even.
mm-hmm,
But it was like I said, it was just the timing of the phone call. But
yeah,
that's why I always don't want to neglect to mention the care that I was given and not the medical treatment,
very good,
because
very
it's
good.
there's so much more than the procedures. Like I said
Mm-hmm,
before, there's so much more than administering medical procedures and medications and
come
things
on.
like that.
Mm-hmm,
There's a way that you do it.
yeah,
There's a personality behind it,
mm,
and there's intentions. And another thing, one of the nurses um, was a breast cancer survivor herself. I'm sorry, not breast cancer, a colon cancer survivor herself. And so
wow,
she had been through everything that that I was going through. She had
yes,
personal experience with it.
yes. And so that sympathy, that empathy
Right,
helped.
right.
How would you encourage men, especially, to make sure that they take care of themselves in this time of resource and in this time of sensitivity that clearly is happening in the medical field? How would you encourage them?
Well, specifically from what I know, I don't think that um, insurance will even cover a colonoscopy under
Mhm.
age 45.
Yeah.
But if you're 45, definitely do that. Get that on the schedule.
Mm.
Um, and just be active. Like people who don't like to exercise regularly think that exercise implies something strenuous.
Hmm.
And if you don't want to do that, or if you're unable for whatever reason to do that, just walk or
Yeah.
do whatever it is that you're able to do. Just whatever it is that's getting your body um, activity
Yeah.
and getting your blood flowing.
Hmm.
And eating healthy is really important.
Yes.
Really important, and it's
Yes.
really possible.
Mhm.
There's so much, delicious food that doesn't have to be bad for you.
Yeah, all bland. That's why we made it kosher kitchen. I'll have to get you introduced to that. I'll send you that. It's 100% organic, no salt, no preservative, no sugar, and all the herbs are listed on all the ingredients are listed on the bottle. And because it's kosher, that means it's been certified by a rabbi. That's to show you how organic it is and how
Hmm.
vegan it is. But
I'm definitely interested in that.
yeah, we'll be staying in touch. So tell them one more time where they can find you, especially if they're in the Dallas area and the exhibition that you've got going on.
Okay, so my name again is Reuben Cheatem. My website is myname.com, rubencheatem.com. On Instagram, my handle is RCHEA
Mhm.
Cheatem, like my name, artist, Artist. Um, the group show that I'm in with Pencil on Paper Gallery opens this Saturday, the 12th, the
Yeah.
13th, the 12th,
Mhm.
this Saturday, the 12th, 5 to 7 p.m. Myself and the other three artists will all be present. We'll have a short artist talk talking about the work that's on display. Um, that gallery, I don't know the address by heart, but it's
Mhm.
in Farmers Branch,
Mhm.
so it's pretty close to downtown Dallas.
Yeah. I'll get it from you and put it in the chat, and I'll tag you also. We'll make some stuff from this and tag you in it also. But I'm so grateful for you, Reuben. I'm so glad that you're a year cancer free,
Oh
and
yes,
that all the tests will keep you breast cancer free. And this is just so wonderful to hear a Black man talk so honestly, so proudly, and so strongly about this, and seeing the full vigor of health that you have and the creativity that's in you. I bless you, and I thank you for hopefully saving men's lives and start the conversation. I call it
yes.
the uncomfortable conversation. Start the uncomfortable conversation. God bless you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you all for joining. I know
Thank
that
you,
you'll come
Marina.
and watch the replay and leave your comments in. You know, I do like to respond, but I love you all. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bless you all. Bye for now.